Alright guys, so I got all my plastic in, at least most of it. So now it's time to set up the irrigation, and I got a lot of that done. So I'm going to show you step by step just how I did it. So you're going to want to watch this one. So let me show you guys first where the water is coming from. So we have our one of our main splitters right here, and what I mean by splitters is that you got multiple lines going in different directions. So this particular line is going to the produce section. It's going to be feeding all the water to our tomatoes, zucchini, squash, and all that stuff. And then we have another line, and that is going to be a couple of feet deep in the ground. Over here we built this box specifically to be able to be in the ground and 3 feet down, because right over here we have our greenhouse and we have a hydrant hooked up in there. So if I do want to have water in there in the winter time, I got to make sure that that water is 3 feet deep and not getting frozen. So that's why we built this nice little box, and it's actually a little bit deeper than 3 feet. I put gravel on the bottom, but as you can see, kind of looking in here, you can see we have it marked out. So this particular valve right here is going out to the produce. We haven't hooked these two up. These are going to be a future hookup for our high tunnel. And then the one right over here, if you can see that with my foot, that is going to the hydrant for our greenhouse, which is only a couple of feet right behind me. And this is all going, this is the main line right here, which is going right to our well, and that's where the main source of water is coming from. It's coming right from the well. And so just so you can understand, we put this here so we can control each particular section. If you want to shut off from here, we can shut it off, each one, no matter where we are. We can turn it off from here. We have another splitter further towards the pole barn, and so there's a lot of different areas we can shut off the water and control it to where we want it to go. So I'm right at the beginning of one of the rows that I'm going to be planting tomatoes in, and real quick what I want to go into is exactly what is the main source of water transportation that we use, and this is going to be 1 1/4 inch poly tubing. And the nice thing about poly tubing, it is a lot more freeze resistant than like PVC. Okay, I've seen guys put PVC in their farm, and once winter comes around, even though they winterize it, you know, blow out the water, if there's just a little bit of water in there, that PVC will crack. But this stuff will not crack. This stuff will be underground. I'm just showing you this now so you can see what it looks like before it actually goes in the ground, and that's one of the reasons why I also have orchard tubing. This orchard tubing is 16 millimeters, and that's from Toro. And this is what we kind of use to connect from the poly tubing, orchard tubing, and then the drip tape. Okay, but I kind of wanted to show you this before it goes in the ground so you can kind of see how it looks. And basically when this is all said and done, this will be sticking out of the ground, and we'll just have this to connect the drip tape to. So let me go over some more specifics on some of these other adapters, so let's take a look. Alright, so I'm going to show you some of these pieces of all the adapters that we have to put all this stuff together. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the grommet. This is what actually connects into the poly tubing. And then this is, let's see, a 15 millimeter grommet. And then we have 5/8 barb, which is this little guy, and then we have the 5/8 shut-off valve. You know, it's basically real nice to have something like this because you can segregate each particular row if you don't want water going to it. Okay, and basically the way this works is you got your orchard tubing, and we cut these out to be about 3.5 feet. It comes in a roll of 500 feet, and all this stuff comes from Nolt's produce supply. This is where I happen to get a lot of my stuff from. They have really good pricing. I'm not endorsing them. I don't get paid by them or anything, so I'm just letting you know where I get my stuff from. You can go online and probably find this stuff anywhere. But yeah, I cut these down first, and the main thing I do is we'll drill the poly tubing first to get the grommet in, okay? Then the grommet is in, and then what I'll do is I'll hook all this stuff up first. So, for example, this will be the part going into the grommet, okay? Like this, it just gets pushed in. And then I'll set all this up before I start getting to that point. So this little guy has, and they both of them have the same thing. They have like this little screw that comes in and out. And basically what that does is puts it so that you can slide this in, and you have to kind of force it in. And then what I do is I kind of hold these two little handles right here, because it's going to be tight, especially when it comes to the orchard tubing, and then just slightly pull, twist it, and it'll come out a little bit, not much. It's kind of hard for me to do this while I'm showing you, and you can kind of see it moving just a bit, and that's it. And you want to basically just make sure, give it a tug, and it's fine. Other side, same thing, okay, same deal. Only this is the side that you're actually going to have a valve. So when it's facing this way, the valve is open. This way means it's closed. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick. We're going to do a sample so you can kind of see exactly how this is done. And we have this lined up right in front of this particular row. The plastic's down, the drip tape is in the ground. We have it sticking out right here. And we have the drill all set. We have a 1/2 inch drill, which is going to be drilling the hole. Drill bit. Drill bit, that is. Thank you. And that's going to be drilling the hole for the grommet. So without any further ado, alright, so the hole is done. And I'm terrible at doing this because I have like no nails.
You just want to kind of squish it in and move it around until it...
Hopefully they can see that. I'm not, the lighting isn't that great, but hopefully you guys can see that.
And make sure it's flush up against the poly.
You want to make sure that it's nice and flush. Sorry, the video. You don't want that sticking up at all, so it's nice and flush up against that. So, all right, so let me grab one of the orchard tubings, and we'll show you the next step. Okay guys, so this is the orchard tubing. We already have it all assembled, and this is the part that goes right into the grommet. So you just take this part, squeeze it in there, boom, it's in. All right, now I'm going to take my drip tape, and when you're cutting the drip tape, one thing you want to make sure, you use scissors for this, I'm just using a knife, is you cut this drip tape so that it's flat, it is straight, okay? Because if you don't do that, and if it's curved at an angle, it's going to be harder for it to get a nice fit on the connection. So let me just do that, put this aside, and then make sure this is screwed all the way back, okay? And let me try to get a nice tight grip, push it all the way in as far as you can. Alright, and then just screw that back on, and it locks that drip tape right in place, okay? So that looks pretty good, and I'm going to finish up, do the rest of the rows. We're going to have 25 rows all together. So we're going to be doing a lot of tomatoes, zucchini, squash, so a lot of stuff to get in the ground. But this was like essential to get this drip tape hooked up, because trying to come out here and water by hand is not even going to happen. So, you know, you got to have a system in place. Saves so much time. I mean, even if you have raised beds, you know, if you got like, you know, 10 beds or something like that, it's definitely a lot easier, you know, as far as, you know, watering. But if you're doing like a nice little garden and you have, you know, like 10, 20 rows, if you're doing that by hand, it's going to take you some time. Unless you got the time. You know, if you got the time, more power to you. I don't. I'm going to be dealing with the weeds and then harvesting, and that's all I want to be dealing with. So that is pretty much it, guys. Everything looks good so far. And so I hope you guys are doing your thing out there and planting some good organic produce. And so I'll be doing a lot more stuff soon, and you'll be seeing a lot more stuff growing here. So we got a few more, hopefully another 2 weeks it should be done with the cold. This weather's been really iffy. I don't want to plant tomatoes in the ground until I'm absolutely sure we're going to be away from dipping down into the 40s. So we'll see. We might have to wait until May, but you know, it is what it is, guys. That is it. I got to get back to work, so I'll see you guys later. Peace.